Spiritual awakenings are not all love and light and joy. No, they can be the most challenging time of your life. But don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to go through the lights and the darks of spiritual awakening, because I have been through it, and it was the best time and the hardest time of my entire life. This is Spiritual Awakening 101. My name is Victoria Bond. I'm a psychic medium, a spiritual empowerment coach, and 8 years ago I had the biggest awakening of my life. I thought it was a breakdown, and now looking back, I see it was an awakening, a breakthrough. My mission ever since is to help others that are spiritually awakening so they can tap into the mediumship gifts, live their life out on purpose and mission, and of course, in their genius. So, if you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you are a repeater, then hello. And if you have not subscribed yet to this channel, please do so now. We also have an incredible community on Facebook, Awaken Community with Victoria Bond, where we do free readings, and there's so much juicy things, including free programs and meditations. So get on to that now and stay tuned, because I'm going to go through 4 amazing things that you may or may not know about when it comes to spiritual awakening. In today's training, we're going to go through how to awaken with the most ease possible. What you need to look out for when you're going through a spiritual awakening. The delusion and illusion when it comes to spiritual awakening that you've got to know about. And what you need to know going forward when it comes to spiritual awakening. Because it's not a one-stop shop. This is an evolution that's going to continuously keep going your entire human life. So my story, it's a fine line between a breakdown and a breakthrough. They also say there's a fine line between somebody that's insane and a genius, okay? So don't quote me on those words, but you know what I'm saying. The thing is, when our life is crumbling and we feel like we're having the biggest breakdown, there's 2 different ways we can go. We can go down and start making ourselves wrong and blaming ourselves and the shame and the guilt and all of these things that are crumbling and stirring within us. They can bring us literally down. Or we can go on the path of divine healing. And when we go on the path of divine healing, the guilt and the shame and the crumbling and all of the pain, the trauma, the toxicity may come up, but we can transcend beyond what has happened to us. We can walk through and feel the feelings, and we can get contributions from the universe, from the humans around us, from our higher self, so we can divinely heal and have a breakthrough. We're here to break through all of the things that are coming up for us, and all the things that come up for us are coming up for a reason. Unfortunately, we haven't been taught how to work through things, so a lot of the time we find ourselves spiraling into patterns and repeating the same loops. I'm here today to tell you how you can have more ease when it comes to spiritual awakening. For me, I was going into the spiral. I was drinking too much alcohol. I was having coffee to stay up. I was eating junk food and sugar and carbs just to stay on during the day. And what I was finding is I had all these signs and synchronicities. It was my time to awaken. All this crazy metaphysical, spiritual stuff was happening to me, and I didn't know what to do with it. Because at the same time as spirit coming on and knocking on my door and coming to try to get my attention, I couldn't hold it. I had 2 little children, a baby and a 2-year-old, a job, a relationship that was strained because we both were working so much, and I'm trying to deal with the house and all the people, and my belief system has been crumbled. And I'm starting to think, what am I meant to be doing with my life? How am I meant to proceed with my reality when I can barely look after myself? I can barely have the self-care that I need to be a regulated human being. So you can see how the polarity is. This is a spiritual awakening, spirits coming through for me, all these signs and synchronicities, and people are showing up in my world. And over here, I can barely keep it together. Lack of sleep, fueling my body not correctly. The mentality was of making myself wrong. So I was doing this. I was going breakthrough, breakdown, breakthrough, breakdown, and I was isolated. I didn't feel connected to my husband. I was starting to feel disconnected from my children because the guilt and the shame and the exhaustion was really taking me down and taking a toll on me. And I didn't have anybody in a spiritual community to reach out to. Of course, I found those people, and there's a happy ending at the end of this story, and this is why I'm sharing this with you, and this is what I do for a job. I had some amazing, beautiful, miraculous people that stepped into my world, and it usually happens in your everyday living, in your everyday job. So I was hairdressing, and all of a sudden someone would want to come and get their hair done, and they would end up being a spiritual guide for me. And I had many beautiful spiritual guides, but the chaos was loud. I had spirit coming forward. I could see, I could hear, I could feel. I was sleeping and like traveling, and there was darkness. I was feeling, I was getting energetically and physically attacked when I would just start to drift off, so much that I was in fear of going to sleep. I was in fear of loving. I was in fear of living. And I couldn't do it anymore. I got to the point of, I can't do this anymore. God, creator, whatever you are, because my whole beliefs have been shaken up and I don't know what I believe because I don't believe in this religion anymore because this is what's happening to me and I'm experiencing the opposite of what I've been told. What am I going to do? What do you want from me? What do you want? Down on my knees, what do you want? Because what I've been told is not matching what I know, and what I'm doing is not making me a better person, working myself into the ground. This burnout and spiritual awakening were together. I thought awakening was meant to be love and light and joy, being a guru. Everything is ecstasy. Everything is amazing. Everything is enlightened. And this is what I'm seeing online. I'm seeing these guru energies that are like, everything's amazing. And the 1, 2, 3 step, here you go. But what about the shadow? What about the hardship? What about the confusion? What about the crumble? I want to help you with that today. I've been through it. I know it. I feel it. It was hard. Sometimes it still is hard because we're forever evolving. But with simple tools and processes, understanding and witnessing and actually knowing about manifestation and energy and entities and what spirit is and who we are and where we're going, we can start putting the pieces together for ourselves. How do we want our life to look going forward? Do we want to go down a spiral of conspiracy of, oh my gosh, we're in this matrix and it's totally screwed, and oh my gosh, conspiracy. You can go down all the rabbit holes you want. There's a whole entire YouTube on rabbit holes, right? Anywhere you can find these things. Or do you desire to slay in your own lane and to be enlightened, to be able to hold yourself so well that if anything, when anything or anyone comes in your way, or when you're feeling a crumble, you know what to do because you're in your integrity and you are as authentic as you can possibly be at any given moment. I know which one I'm choosing. I am not your guru. I am merely a guide that's been through experiences that shares my experience. When I went through my breakthrough, spiritual awakening, which was rough, I did something. I thought, if I've gone through this, if I've struggled so hard with having little children, little sprinkle of, postnatal depression there, as well as awakening, as well as burnout, as well as past trauma. If I'm going through this, other people must be going through this too. Having children was the hardest thing that I ever did because it woke me up. Did you know that our children wake us up? Do you know that our children are our guides? If you don't have children, don't worry, you're not going to miss out. Other things will come and they will start shaking you up. You'll start thinking, is there more to what I've been told? What do I believe? It happens with age as well, curiosity. We're designed to wake up, but not go sit in a temple and meditate for years on end, because that is not the reality we live in. And maybe you're a monk, maybe you're the energy of the Buddha, and maybe that is your path. And excuse me if I am wrong for you. But generally speaking, we're here to live a life. We're here to experience love, light, pain, challenges, pushing ourselves, achievement, living our lives out, living our dreams. But all of us, most of us, want to get there without having to take those steps. I can't wait to share with you some of those things today. I would love to know what is resonating with you already. Have you had a spiritual awakening already? This isn't a one-time shot. I remember my first one because my whole world was shaken. I was in a tornado. But you know what? I was in the tornado. I was being smacked around. I wasn't still in the tornado. Now, when the tornado comes, when I know that everything's getting ripped apart and moved around, the puzzle that we just put together has been thrown up into the air. It's like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory when he puts the little boy in the special machine and it's the TV, he puts him into a million different pieces and then puts them back together and makes them small. That is what a spiritual awakening is like. We need to be able to hold ourselves in that time, to know who we can trust, to have processes for us that works for us. So when all of those puzzle pieces come back down, maybe it creates a different picture. It certainly will. We're not meant to stay still. How do we hold ourselves? It's not a one-stop shop for everyone. There's no actual blueprint that's going to work for every single human. It's impossible. But I can promise you this. Everyone grows and is challenged and has to work through things, and everyone has to feel the things. Some people have really done a lot of deep work and they can hold themselves. They can hold the stillness within the chaos. It doesn't mean they don't feel the debris hitting them. They just know how to hold themselves. So let's get into this today. How does this feel for you? Are you ready? Let me know in the comments. Are you ready? So how to awaken with more ease? This is a question that I've put at number one because I wish I knew this 8 years ago when I was just getting smacked around like nobody's business. I couldn't sleep, couldn't stay awake. In fact, my insomnia was so bad, but I would have body paralysis. So literally I would be stuck in my body, not being able to open my eyes, but I couldn't sleep. That happened for a couple of years. And the anxiety that I experienced was radical. It was ridiculous. I had continuous anxiety. So I'm drinking coffee to stay awake. I'm drinking wine to try to, counteract the coffee when it got to 5 o'clock at night. And I'm eating sugar and chips and gluten, like bread, which I'm gluten intolerant, to try to keep energy up. My eyes were yellow. I had to have allergy pills every single day because my immune system was so low. I was constantly feeling like I was allergic to everything. A little bit of dust, oh my gosh, or a cat or anything around me, I would get really, really sick. Why do I share this with you? Because I chose the hard path. I was spiraling down because I didn't know what to do. I was brought up in the Catholic Church, and the only thing I knew to do would be to pray. So did I pray? Yes, I did. But I was confused because I didn't know if I believed everything I'd been told. In fact, none of it made sense. And I was receiving dreams and information and a whole lot of stuff from spirit that was counteracting all the things that I'd been told. So the shame and the guilt of who I was as a person, being a born sinner, all of that stuff that I had carried for so long, I'm being told this isn't actually correct for you, Victoria. So let's start fresh. And that's what I did. And I wish I had had the tools and the processes of knowing the nervous system, knowing the hydration, and knowing that diet and sleep, the simple self-care, write this down. Self-care is a non-negotiable. Because if I had done those things, if I had had the energy, right, all I needed was a list. Drink this amount of water a day, sleep, move your body, be in gratitude. That would have been the hardest list in the world. I probably did have that list. I'm not silly. I know that those things, self-care is super important, but when you start not showering for 3 days because you have got no energy, you are spiraling. When you're spiraling, you're looping. Does this sound familiar? Have you ever spiraled? Have you ever looped? How do we have more ease with this? We have to put measures in place when we feel like we are crumbling and if we feel like we're at the beginning of our journey, or maybe this is a reminder for you if it ain't your first rodeo, to look after our bodies with self-care. People come to me and they go, I'm having an awakening, I'm in the chaos, but I'm going to push that down. I'm going to put that aside. I'll deal with that later. There's a whole lot of stuff there with relationships and trauma and this and that and everything else. But I just want to be a medium because I've got all this mediumship stuff coming at me. So I want to bypass my human. It's called spiritual bypassing. I'm going to bypass my feelings, my emotions, my traumas. I'm going to bypass the relationships that are crumbling around me. My body's having hormonal crazy things happen to me. I'm not sleeping properly. I've got absolutely no boundaries, no standards, but teach me mediumship. And I say, I'll teach you mediumship. And when we do my magnificent mediumship certification, what is the first thing I teach? Boundaries and standards, how to hold your own power, how to find out who you are, what your genius is, what your powers are, to figure out what it means to be you. Not her or her or her or her or that guru, that guru, that guru, that guru. Who are you? I care about who you are. What is your challenges right now? Maybe you eat and you sleep, and maybe you are great with your relationships. What are the things that are not aligned for you right now? We need to align those things. This is how we go through our spiritual awakenings and evolve quicker. We quantum leap and quantum jump when we are in self-care. But too many people are bypassing this. I'm not even kidding you. People come into my world, into my one-to-one containers, my high-level coaching or magnificent mediumship certification. And the first thing they want to do is they want to know how they can get the results that they're wanting. And I say, we're going to stop, we're going to be present, and I want to see what you've been doing up until now. Let's clean this up. Then we'll come back and then we go this way. It's a deconditioning process rather than a spiraling down, because this spiral, you might get, oh, I do mediumship, this, and this way. That's great. I've seen some pretty messed up mediums, right? You can do that thing, but what's the point if you're not happy and aligned? Awakening is about being awakened in all areas of your life. It's a holistic approach. And this is what I learned. And when I did my very first summit, so after I had my breakdown to break through and kind of like woke up, literally, I asked for consciousness to hit me as quickly as possible so it hit hard. I was literally in that tornado on the outer layer just going shoo, 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 shoo. It was an intense year, to say the least. So I created a summit. My very first online thing. I never touched a computer in my life. In fact, I despise computers. Anything that was technology-wise. I had a simple, basic, like $50 phone. Never wanted anything else. Didn't have Facebook, barely. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling like my heart is saying, you need to share this with people around the world, Victoria, because If you are an educated woman from a good family with siblings and morals and church going, then there's got to be people like you or without your privilege that are struggling, or people that do have privilege that are like, what is going on? Why can't I hold myself here? So that's what I did. I started interviewing people. I started showing up. I pushed myself to the edges so I could help others have more ease with their awakening. Number one, you're not broken. You're breaking through. Number two, yes, we do loop and we have patterns, and sometimes we need a psychologist or psychiatrist or a doctor to give us an assessment, because it's really hard not to go into your thinking mind and feel crazy in this world. I went to the doctor. The doctor said to me, "You're fine, go have a break." Do I think I was fine? Absolutely not. I was absolutely unbalanced. I should have got my bloods done. I should have been all checked for everything, because I know that I wasn't fueling my body. My temple was a hot mess. I had heartburn. I was having tummy pains. I couldn't sleep, all of those things. So it's really important that we are helped. And I want to be able to help you or help others by witnessing you, by having these conversations, and by saying, hey, maybe it's a breakthrough. 99% of the time, it's a breakthrough. And even if the trauma is oozing out and maybe different timelines are coming out and there's guilt and there's shame and there's questions and we're going into this craziness of our mind and we're saying to loop, we can break those patterns. We can deal with anything because we are superhuman. We are spirit having a human experience, and we can have more ease with it, but we weren't taught how to have ease in our life. We were taught how to have struggle and how to feel guilty and how to feel shamed and how to make ourselves wrong. And if we were brought up in a church, most churches, I'm not saying all, and I'm all for people going to church. Everyone has their own type of church for sure. But I know in my church, I was taught that I was a born sinner. So by 6 years old, I am literally petrified of going to hell. There's heaven and hell, Victoria. If you're a bad girl, you go to hell. But by the way, you're already behind in the game because you were born a sinner. I wasn't born a freaking sinner. I was born a divine being who was already consciously perfect, who deliberately forgot what my mission was so I could literally learn what it means to be human. And if I hadn't gone through all the things, then how could I hold the space? Because how would I know the guide, the way? How would I be able to have the compassion and the empathy to actually witness the other if I stayed perfect? So of course, all of this was done on purpose. How do you have more ease with it? You come in. Who's going to witness you? Who's your vibe tribe around you? Write this down. Come inward to have more ease. Sit with your feelings. Do not bypass them. Get some help. Not to be codependent, not to dump, but someone who has been in your shoes. And that might be watching a YouTube video like this. Go binge my videos. Go look at other videos. Who do you resonate with? Who is your vibe tribe? Who is on the same level as you? Who has been through what you have been through? Don't go get advice from those who have no idea what you're going through, because that advice won't be relevant to you. How to have more ease. What has resonated with you? What if you weren't broken? What if you weren't breaking? What if you were evolving? How's your breath going? How's your water intake? How's your grounding? How is your food intake? How much rest are you having? Is your temple healthy? Self-care is 101 when it comes to spiritual awakening. I wish I knew that 8 years ago. So the second one is what to look out for in spiritual groups. So yes, we're going through a spiritual awakening and we want to find our own vibe tribe. And I know for me, I was out there going into crystal shops going, hey, can you help me? Or talking to my clients that were coming to me about what to do, how to do it. Remember, I was a baby. I'd been like a Catholic little girl. So tarot cards and pendulums and the tools and the awakening and the mediumship and all of this stuff was very new for me. It was very new age. But there is A discernment, write down that word, discernment, that you require to bring in. So, number one was, self care. When it comes to your spiritual awakening with having more ease, this number two is discernment. You need to be able to tap into your energetic communication, which means listening to yourself. So, for instance, somebody might be in front of you saying, I can help you. Come with me, come into my group, or come into, my church, or come into whatever it is. And you might go, oh, they're saying all the right things. This like sounds exactly like what I'm after, but I've got this weird feeling in my gut. You have to discern whether that feeling is because you're in resistance of changing, or whether this group and this person is not aligned for you at the current time. I don't want to say that there's all these bad, evil groups out there. I believe that there is a group for every single type of person, and we are all different. And that is when it comes to religion as well, that religion is a perfect structure for those who are requiring it. We're all different. We've all got different blueprints. So, what you need to watch out for is the head versus the heart. If you are joining a group that is dictating what is right and wrong for you, then maybe you need to ask the question, are they telling me what to believe? Are they telling me what those next steps have to be? Is there some type of expectation that I've got to follow their protocol, their way, their system? So the indoctrination into that, does it feel like it's aligned with where you're going? Or does it feel a little bit contracted? Does it feel a little bit wrong in your gut? Is there something kind of off? Now, we all have different blueprints and ways that we listen to our intuition, which is a totally different video. But for me, it is very much a subtlety. There's a subtle feeling in my gut that says there's something not quite right, but my head, my ego can override that. And I go, no, 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 that person said all the words I needed to hear. This group feels good. I've got to do this thing. There was a little niggle in my gut that said, you don't need this, or this isn't quite your vibe tribe. And that gut instinct always wins out in the end. And I always go, why didn't I listen to the niggle? That is what we call discernment. Your niggle, your gut, to watch out for what is not actually aligned with you. Is it resistance? Is it unaligned? And I always say this to people when they come to do magnificent mediumship, they come into my membership, or they want to do one-to-one coaching. I'm like, what is your body telling you? What is your gut telling you? I want you to choose for you. I don't want to convince you or persuade you or try to bring you in to something that maybe you're not ready for. So I have to go, look, is this resistance because you're actually required to move through it to grow and evolve? Or is this unaligned for you at this current time? So this is the same rule of thumb for any group communities. If you're trying to find a new church, a new kind of spiritual group, a vibe tribe, taste it out, test it out. But don't be convinced or persuaded. And don't ever feel like you need to convince or persuade, because souls will be attracting like minded souls. That is what you need to watch out for. If there is this guru shadow energy where the guru energy is going, you have to come with me, you have to do it this way, this is the truth, and there's no question in it, or if there's like a ranking hierarchy system, when you get to here, you are more evolved, maybe question that. Why do you need to watch out for that? Because we are all beings of light, essentially. We are all infinite beings. We are all energy. We are beings. We are spirit. We are souls. And yes, we are human. Sometimes our human might need to catch up to where other people have remembered to or awakened to, but we're never less than. So if you're ever in any group and you feel less than, you need to use your discernment. Am I in resistance? Do I need to work on my own ego here? Or is this just not energetically correct for me? So, number three, this leads into the third one, which is the delusion, the illusion. The delusion is, if I do A, B, C, D, then I will be ascended. I will be able to transcend with so much more ease. and I will essentially be evolved and awakened. Now, I said at the very beginning of this video, I believe we are always going through ruptures. We are always going through crumbles. We are always going through waves. We have cycles, we have rhythms, we have traumas, we have uh, guilty, like, energies and all sorts of timelines that need to be healed. And I know that makes it sound really hard. I'm sorry, but we can have more ease with this. We covered that in number one, right? So that brings us to the number one delusion that we are experiencing during our spiritual awakening. A delusion is when we are not seeing things as clearly as we could be, or the wool is being put over our eyes. We are here to be human. That is a fact because we are human. Okay. Now, there's unfortunately a lot of different groups out there that believe that we will ascend with our bodies and go to ships and do all these different things. There's a delusion, and this can often happen when those come together and they kind of like imprinting each other's perspectives, warped perspectives onto each other and creating a separation from the rest of the world. Whenever, this is a thing that we needed to put into the second one as well, wherever there is a separation, wherever there is a stay away from your family or those people that are not awakened, or we are the chosen ones, or this is the inner circle and everybody else is unconscious in the 3D, you need to watch out for all of that type of talk. So is there truth in some of it? Yeah, 100%. There's truth in everything. But to become more awakened means we come together, not imprinting on each other so much, but accepting we have a belief, you have a belief, we have a truth, you have a truth, and being okay with whatever somebody else's belief system is, not making them wrong or judging them or making yourself right. The only person's business you should be up in is your own. So there's a delusion that is going around in this collective of what should be and how everything is meant to be. Maybe there's a delusion. Maybe there's a delusion of spiritual awakening means you are totally blissed out, awakened, you are enlightened, and everything is grand and glorious and great and divine and sparkly, and you're floating. Too many people are floating. Not enough people are grounded. So, what is their delusion? And can you distinguish the delusion between your truth? So you can be buying into the delusion. Another word is an illusion, by giving up your truth and taking on somebody else's, which is not that hard to do when you're an empath, when you're an energetic being. So, like I always say, take what I say here with a grain of salt. Is this true for you? Does this make sense for you? Am I planting seeds of your very own consciousness so you can grow and really experience and discern what is your truth? Because although we may have completely different truths and different viewpoints and definitely different experiences, it doesn't mean that one person is wrong and one person is right. That is this system that we have been put into. What if there was many, 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 many different truths, and all we had to use was our discernment and our self-care to come into our own conscious awareness? Consciousness is an expansion of awareness, and when we are more conscious, when we are more expanded, we have more awareness of everything. So that can be a lot of craziness on the mind. That is why we have to come into our being and feel the things and step through the processes that are of the self. And of course, we can be witnessed by others. We can be guided by others that have already been through or walked the walk, and they will guide us with what is correct for you. How are you feeling? What is this experience for you? Because we're all having a different experience. So you do need to notice, am I in a delusion or am I in somebody else's illusion? What does that mean for me? How do you deal with this? You sit with yourself. Is this true for me? Does it feel light and expansive? Am I being guided by my heart and my soul? Or am I using my brain and trying to get into somebody else's world? The only thing you need to do is to slay in your own lane when it comes to really seeing if you're in a delusion. Because let's face it, we're in this matrix reality and you can make it whatever you want. You can quantum jump, you can quantum leap, you can collapse the timelines, you can change your reality just like this. We are multidimensional beings. But where are you at in your evolution? What feels good for you? And if it doesn't make sense what somebody else is saying to you, put it aside. You can always come back to it later and pick it up if you want. What you need to know while you're going forward in a spiritual awakening. So I've covered quite a lot of this already, okay? And of course, I invite you to come over to do some deep dives with us on Facebook, the Awaken community with Victoria Bond. And also make sure you subscribe because so many more videos are being created as we speak. But the thing that you need to know is this is your universe. Everybody else has their own universe within them. This is your reality. You're the creator of your reality. This is your self-care, your discernment. This is your playground. How do you want it to be? How do you want to be in it? You are what you be now, not what you're going to be in the future, because the future is never, ever there. It's always now because the future is going to be now. And this is now the future that you used to think about. And what you think about, you bring about into the future, which is still the now. Thank you, Eckhart Tolle, for the power of now and New Earth. Absolutely huge game changers in my reality. So, what do you need to know going forward? What can you take from everything I've said today? Understanding that this is a codex. We've done a lot of work on the subconscious today, a lot of planting seeds, a lot of dismantling of the control systems, of the implants that you have taken on of other people's points of views and judgments, of other people's beliefs. What do you believe? This is what you need to know going forward. What do you believe? Where do you need to hold your standards and your boundaries? So when it comes to spiritual awakening, you are this close to being a medium, to opening your psychic abilities, to living a life beyond the human, but with the human. The human is within you and is just as important as you. So I would love to hear in the comments, what is the thing that has popped for you the most, and what are you going to take action on? We've covered lots of different concepts today. And I know from my own experience that spiritual awakening is the hardest thing I have ever been through. Absolutely the hardest. And it continues to be a challenge. I can have a lot more ease with it, but I made a deal with myself. I made a pact with myself. I made a contract with myself. And I said, I will not go unconscious just to fit in. I will not give up what I know to be true, my intuition, my superpowers, my genius, my psychic abilities, all these things that I knew were sitting within me. I'm not going to give them up so I can have a normal life or be accepted. No, I desire to be the best person I can possibly be. I desire to know the truth, my truth, and I will do anything and everything if it's in alignment with the higher good of all, to be in my most divine alignment, to be authentic and to be in my integrity. So that means my standards and my boundaries are strong. That means I am strong. That means I am real. That means I know what I know to be true. And I respect those who know whatever their truth is to be as well. So this is Spiritual Awakening 101. This is coming to you from a space of channel of our guides, of our spirit teams, and we are bringing spiritual awakening back to the basics. We don't need fancy words or concepts that are so out of this world. We need the fundamentals and the basics so we can build upon ourselves to grow and evolve in consciousness and awareness. So, which way do you want to do it? Do you want to spiral down because it's all too hard being in this 5D reality? Or do you want to live a life of embodied 3D consciousness where you are living out this 5D experience and beyond? You do have a choice. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to see you guys subscribed and in my Awaken community with Victoria Bont on Facebook. Until next time, namaste.